be here. Thank you to Jim and to the incredible staff at the Slow Chamber for inviting me to introduce myself as the community liaison for Golden State Wind. As many of you probably know, offshore wind has been on the mind of many, especially coastal county residents, for many years, dating back in fact to 2016. Lots has happened since then. I know I only have a few minutes and there's quite a lot to share. To stay true to time, the story arc that I'm going to take you on today, basically, is offshore wind. How did we get here? Where is here? Who is we? And where are we headed? So right off the top, both the nation and the state of California have established goals related to renewable energy and specifically to offshore wind. At the federal level, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, began its investigation into wind resources off the coast of California in 2016, put out a request for interest that year, followed by 2 calls for information, and then released what's called an Area Identification Memo in 2021, announcing the designation of the Morro Bay Wind Energy Area. In 2022, BOEM scoped, drafted, and then released what's called an environmental assessment of the Morro Bay Wind Energy Area. That environmental assessment, also a public process, included a finding of no significant impact for the proposed action. Meanwhile, at the state level, the California Coastal Commission participated fully in that environmental assessment and conducted its own federal consistency review. The commission conditionally concurred that the lease and activities were consistent with coastal zone policies, provided that the project be modified in accordance with specified conditions. With that, and a few more steps, an auction for the 3 distinct lease areas in the Morro Bay Wind Energy Area, plus 2 additional lease areas in Northern California, was held in December of 2023. So that brings us to here. But where is here? Keeping on the regulatory track for just like 10 more seconds, at the federal level, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management now has announced that it is preparing a programmatic environmental impact statement for both wind energy areas off the coast of California. This is a 2-year public process. At the state level, the California Energy Commission just released its draft strategic plan for offshore wind. This draft plan was created with many California state agencies, including the Coastal Commission, the State Lands Commission, Ocean Protection Council, Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the California Independent Systems Operator, among others. And that's out for public comment now. There's a lot more on the regulatory and legislative side, but with these 5 minutes, I'm going to bring things back to the more tangible now. This here part must also touch on the physical world in all of this. So where exactly is the Morro Bay Wind Energy Area? I'm sure many of you have driven down the 101 south to Santa Barbara and seen the oil platforms off the coast. If you were to guess, in your mind, or you can say it out loud, how far from the coast do you think those platforms are? They're 3 to 6 miles out. By contrast, the Morro Bay Wind Energy Area at its closest point to shore on the county's north coast is 20 miles. From the harbor at Morro Bay, Golden State Wind's lease area is 53 miles from shore. Depending on ocean conditions, vessel size, and speed, it's about a 4-hour journey, or a full day's round-trip journey. So before I finish with where we're headed, I want to share a little bit about who we are. Golden State Wind is working to bring responsible floating offshore wind to California. We are a joint venture between the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board and a company called Ocean Winds. Ocean Winds is established in the offshore wind industry. It manages Golden State Wind, and it's the company I proudly work for. I say proudly because Ocean Winds was created to focus solely on offshore wind. At this moment, our staff is developing, constructing, and/or operating 15 offshore wind projects in 7 different countries, and a third of our projects are floating. There are a lot of things to love about working among talented and professional and passionate people, and I'm sure that all of you in this room can relate when I say that. Speaking personally, it feels really very good to be working for a company that's developing offshore wind as a tool to combat climate change, that will help states and countries meet clean energy targets and move us toward a just and equitable energy transition. With these last 30 seconds, I'll wrap up just with a brief overview of where we're headed, and spoiler alert here, our journey together has only just begun. There are a few key milestones laid out by BOEM that takes leaseholders from the lease issuance all the way through to decommissioning. This is a decades-long timeline, and it involves consistent regulatory oversight and multiple public processes. For the next 2 years, our project team, which includes marine scientists, geophysicists, marine archaeologists, NEPA and CEQA environmental permitting specialists, and electrical engineers, will be focusing on both community engagement and site characterization work in earnest. Site characterization work in our lease area is critical to designing an environmentally responsible project that avoids and minimizes potential environmental impacts to the maximum extent possible. I'm out of time. I'm here as a local resource. I live here. I live in Morro Bay and have done for about 8 years. So I'm here for everyone in this room. Please tell all your friends, tell your frenemies. Please reach out anytime. And thank you so much for letting me share.